Hello, my name is Italy. I'm the group leader for discussion board 8, the Rossetti and Goblin Market, and I was just going to do my video submission of the overall group work that we did and just basic summaries regarding my point of view as well as Katie's, Veronica's, and Luna's. I did check the discussion board, and the only individual that has responded to the discussion board that I can see is Katie under group 3, and so I will be discussing my point of view as well as Katie's, as well as some side notes that I personally have. So the question asked for the discussion board was whether or not we believe that the Goblin Market was intended for the the children audience, so for a child, or if it was intended more for a grown adult audience. And in my personal opinion, based on the text evidence and the story itself, I do not believe that it was meant for children. It was not meant for to be a children's poem to be read to children, just because of the amount of sexual language that you see in the poem. It does have a rhyme scheme, so that's something that a lot of critics and as well as myself believe could be intended for children, and the author itself, Rossetti, does say that the poem is intended to be for children. But I mean, it is really hit or miss. There's more sexual language within the poem, and I don't think that's something that a child should be listening to or reading. And that's why I believe that it was meant for more for an adult audience, even though it does have some sort of childlike characteristics like the rhyme scheme. As far as my group, let's see, Katie said the exact same thing. She did agree with my point of view. The only thing that I have to mention from her discussion was that she did say, she did mention that it was for a child and for an adult, but she mentioned it leaned more towards the adult side. As far as her discussion itself, I do have to agree with her. She mentioned several points that we both had in common, such as the golden curl, the form of payment, was one of the examples that we saw that was not something that was meant for children, because after she made her payment to the goblins, they kind of harassed her. They did. It wasn't mentioned that they sexually abused her, but it was something that we both found to be a little cruel for a child's book, for a child's poem. Also, there were a few minor things that I had to say about her submission, but it was just basically on the initial format that she had too much text evidence and not enough personal thought, if that makes any sense. As far as my other peers that were in my same group, I couldn't find their discussion under the group 3, which is our group, so I only have, it was Veronica, so I'm responding to Veronica. But really, other than that, we did come to the conclusion that it was meant for a child and not so much for an adult because of the number of sexual evidence within the poem. Let's see, what else? But during the form of payment, during the method of the the payment method for the golden curl, we did see a whimsical melody that is for little kids because of the golden curl, but it was what came after that made it kind of iffy. And during the story itself, whenever the sister does come home with the goblin fruit all over her face, the way she approaches her sister is very strange. She does tell her to kiss everything off of her face, and the idea of her being healed after she does so, after she licks everything off of her face, is said to be about the purity of someone, so whether they have lost their virginity or not. And the act of her being healed kind of contradicts that kind of statement, and that kind of, I guess you could say, theory based on the critics, which is another thing, like, that's not meant for children, sense of purity. But other than that, that's pretty much it, as far as what my group had to say, just because it was only us two. I didn't find any of the other group's members' discussions, but thank you.